Right, I have assembled here some things to make perfume in response to the many questions like, will you just tell me how to make a perfume? I just want to know, how is it made? What's it made of? Just tell me. So, I mean, obviously, it takes years, but on the other hand, we can give some hints in a few minutes. So I have brought some things that you need to make perfume. Ethanol. It tells ethanol because it says ethanol. I mean, these are actually sort of laboratory squirty bottles for cleaning things, but this is filled with perfumer's special ethanol. This is trade-specific denatured alcohol. TSDA1. Now you need a Home Office license in the UK to get this, to be able to buy it, and you can't sell it to anyone else unless it's in a perfume. But you can buy perfumer's alcohol, which has a thing in that makes you ill, so you can't drink it, and that is available to anybody who wants to buy it. What else have I got? I've got here a small Pyrex beaker. Don't need to heat it up, but it's good for measuring things in, and then I don't ever throw them away. I mean, the whole lab smells a little bit of musk. But everything we own, all the teacups smell of musk, but it goes in the dishwasher. And it's not a problem having teacups smelling musk. So, I have brought a small scale. This one takes rechargeable batteries. I have got, of course, a pen. I've got that. You don't need one of those straight away, but I've got my book to write everything down in, which is important. So one formula book, and we could be, oh, these are all the things I'm supposed to have made, and they're just like, they've written down the title, haven't written anything else. So I would start there. You don't have to write it down by hand, I just like it. Space. You need a space. I am going to take a little sample of jasmine that I have, and I'm going to dilute it. Because you can make your perfumes at 100% strength with your essential oils and your... But you might be using Aurelion, which is solid and very difficult to work with at 100% strength, so you might want to dilute it. Plus, if you make dilutions, then you don't use up quite so much stuff with your experiments. So, yes, I've got here a bottle which has a pipette with it. Sometimes we just put normal lids on them, but I'm going to use this. So let's hope the batteries keep going. It says hello. It says 0 grams. I put that on it. 61.6. And I press T for tear to reset it to 0. This is a 50ml bottle. Yeah, 50ml bottle. So that will hold 40 grams of ethanol. So if I want to... yeah, it feels like I'm going to have my teeth done, isn't it?
Lots of building work.
Actually, I'm going to weigh this as well, so that this can be part of it. What I really need is 2 grams to make 5% jasmine. Let's see how much there is. Might not have 2 grams. That as well. 0.6 grams. I don't have very much jasmine. I'm going to pour the rest of it in. Who didn't plan ahead? Me. But it doesn't matter. I'll just make it 5% of whatever I've got. Nice. Okay, I've got 1.2 grams. That means I can make it up to 24 and then it'll be at 5%. So that's what I'm going to do. This needs to be on there as well, because that's all part of the weight. So 1.2 up to 0.4, 50 8, 20, 21. Thought I could do it in one squirt, can't do it in one squirt. 20, 24, 24. This is now...
You put user
That's
wrong.
the wrong one. Okay, I'll clean that. Never do that. Right. That is... sufficiently stirred. I have labels. I look around for where I put the labels. I've definitely brought them. Oh, the labels attached themselves to my arm. I couldn't really have done that, could I, with that try to say. Jasmine. Absolute at 5%. And I shall write on it who it's from and where it's from. So that's Egyptian, and it's got a lot number. And they've got the ladder out next to it. That goes on there. Right. So tell you what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to use this little bottle to clean this, because I need this, and after I've cleaned it out, it's fine. Because ethanol is a lovely cleaning material too. Okay, that's fine now. That can go in the room fragrance vat later. So then you have a dilution of jasmine at 5%. You don't have to experiment, like I said, at dilutions, but it's very handy because you use less stuff. So let's make a perfume, Arthur. So I'm going to use that. Now the scale's already switched itself off. If you're going to be serious about this stuff, it's nice to have a scale which plugs in, because then it doesn't switch itself off. So you have to keep an eye on it. This will switch itself off to save batteries, but so we'll keep an eye on it. We've got some scent strips, which you can dip in and tell what things smell like. But you can cut these up out of watercolour paper. You don't have to get posh ones. That's finished with. So I have some other materials which are diluted in ethanol. A few of these which we can have hanging around. We could maybe just decide what to make. But I also brought up Cocoa Absolute, which is murky, because I would like to demonstrate shortly. Filtering. Very murky. So shall we make a jasmine and cocoa absolute fragrance?
I think so. Yeah.
To the accompaniment of the blokes doing the... Now that's what I brought this for. That's why I cleaned it out, because it's going in the cocoa absolute. This is the point at which we really need to write things down. But we can experiment. So I experiment some of the time, just get a really rough idea on these. We could do... No, we talked about this a second ago, but before this film. What's it like if we put things on the strip to see what they smell like? Because you don't want to go piling things straight into a perfume and wasting lots of materials when you're just starting out and it's really expensive. I mean, fine, if you get accepted into the a training course somewhere, they've got a lot of materials hanging around and they don't worry so much. But when you're buying your own, sometimes it feels really expensive. So I'm going to give you a jasmine and a cocoa.
Cool.
And, so, jasmine, cocoa. Cocoa always makes me laugh. It's like, jasmine, Marmite. And
it really is Marmite.
Put the two together and see. We've made Jasmo. or
It's just huge amounts of
Could
umami.
be.
That. Yeah.
yeah. But weirdly they seem to work. So, and then what you did say, Arthur, so I would normally write on the strip as well, write everything down. Jasmine, cocoa. Absolute, so we don't get them mixed up. So I would have planned this ahead if I was thinking, but so we'll make a jasmine, cocoa, musk. We'll keep it really simple, maybe with some styrax. And animalic chocolate. I might then put these things together. So I'm going to go a blob of, right, so I'm measuring in drops. When I talk about blobs, this is just to get a very rough idea, because the drops might not weigh the same. But it's just to see what happens if you mix them. Equal amounts okay, or maybe we should do different amounts? Cool. It needs to dry, and what I'm using here is very, very tiny filter papers.
Wow.
I think the cocoa's winning. What do you
Yes.
think?
Yes, it's far more.
Cocoa
Yeah, I
and
can't really smell
jasmine.
much jasmine on this.
So, I mean, we talk about balance, and how do you know something's perfectly balanced? Well, you decide. How chocolatey or jasmine-y do you want it? And I'm putting these things together because they have a similar kind of textural density for me. That's one of the things that's really difficult to learn. It's not the smells so much, is that how do they feel? How intense are they? How dense do they feel? But, this is supposed to be the short guide. Okay, I think, so just roughly, I would go 2 jasmine to 1 cocoa. What do you think? So I'm going to turn this on. I can turn the scale on with the beaker on, and it sets itself to 0. So I don't need to press tare. So I'm going to put in, of course, the cocoa is at 10%. Need to write that. So in fact, they are kind of equal. So I'm going to put in 1 gram. Thank you. 1 gram of cocoa. That's not very much. You see, this is a tiny experiment. Normally I'd do bigger ones, but I'm doing a what if you start out. The cocoa jasmine. Now it's quite a cool room, and we're not going to pause very long, but this will evaporate. I'm watching it. It's still warm, but cocoa at 10%, 1 gram, and then I put jasmine at 5%, 2 grams. But bear in mind that is actually the same amount of actual material, because I need a chair. Spread myself out too far. Right. Jasmine. Press tare. So it is like, you wouldn't necessarily make a perfume just randomly choosing stuff. But I'm going to put in 2 grams of this. A bit more. Fascinating, isn't it, watching this? Come on, behave. Yes. That's good. 2 grams. Now, jasmine and cocoa together. Why not? Each one contains hundreds of different molecules. So, is it 2 materials? It's 2 lines on the formula. You could consider this to be like 600 different materials. So, that might be complex enough. So I'm just going to go, keeping it simple. It makes such a pretty design on. I really just want to film that. I could hypnotise myself whilst watching that. I'd stop it. I'll never get anywhere. Right, your favourite musk? Should we just stick some helvetalide in?
Oh yes,
I'm
please.
going to do it. This one doesn't have a pipette with it, so I'm going to use one of these. So, this is at 10% strength. That's ended up being 6.6. I've done this before. So what I'm going to do is put in 2 grams of. I'm going to put in 3 grams of helvetalide. That's 2.6. And make a jasmine cocoa musk. Now, this is not going to be some kind of classic creation. This is just a demo of how to get the hang of it. Ha! I thought I might have a spare rubber band in there. So, because it is plastic and I do not want it to be single use, so I'm just going to stick it like that and use it for later. If I were going to be taking time over this and balancing it and doing it carefully, I would probably... Oh, write it down. I would probably add other things. But this is... We're doing a little practical demo of just how it's done. Kit you need, stuff you want. Right, that is helvetalide at 10%, 3 grams. So
It's really nice.
thank you.
I mean, helvetalide is just the best thing on the planet.
I mean, I have to be a little bit careful here because the Jasmine Absolute, here's another issue. Jasmine Absolute is only allowed at, I think, 0.6% of the finished fragrance. Now, it's diluted to 5%, which means that you can't put that. I'll have to make it less significant in the blend in order to make it compliant. I see over there the ISOE Super. I think I might add that. How is it? Just because it's here, because this is not a demonstration of how to make a wonderful perfume, this is a demonstration of how it's done. I'm going to add... Oh, that's number 3. Well, certainly would need to be less than 10% of the fragrance. That's fine, we're getting there. Yeah. I'm going to put in... That's well. These magically kind of squirt 0.5 gram. It's not magic, but they're always consistent. But drop size can be different. We don't measure in drops. I'm going to put 4 grams of ISOE Super in this. This is not how I always make perfume. Right. 4 grams of ISOE Super. How's that one smelling anyway?
It's nice.
Oh, I'm probably not going to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
But experiments. Where's the 5%? Ah, and that's at 15% strength. So. I don't want to do all my maths here.
That's better with the ISOE Super.
Right, I've now got the, so that's 90, 110 something at 10% of the Like, it's still too much jasmine. But I am going to say, I'll fiddle with this. I'll tweak it later. It can't, still, it's not skin safe yet. But I'm going to go, we'll do the calculations afterwards. I'm going to do this. Because, why would you filter it?
Do you turn the stand horizontally?
I will turn, that was much more sensible idea. Yeah, you don't need a stand, you don't have to buy one, you can
make one.
Put something together. Be taught stands and clamps. This is filter paper, this is Whatman filter paper, and it looks like that. And there is apparently a coffee filter paper that's very fine, that is okay for perfume, but standard coffee filters will not work. You can buy them. They're just, the holes are too big. They don't stop anything getting through. And you want your perfume not to be cloudy. Some materials go cloudy, but then they uncloud themselves later. You can get fluted paper, but it costs a lot more than the flat stuff. So when I end up with flat stuff, I just flute it myself like that. I started doing origami at a very young age, so fluting is not difficult. That's it. And I'm going to put that in there. I'll take it down a bit and filter it. Get you. Right. Sit. Ready, steady. How do you filter it? Like this. Do I put it in the fridge first? No. Could do.
Do people say that?
Yeah.
Why?
That's come up recently. I'm not sure, but there is a theory that if you put it in, I think it maybe just works for very hot countries, that if you put it in the fridge, then some things will solidify out. But if you put things in the fridge, well, if you lower the temperature, then you can dissolve. If you're dissolving something like Ambrox, less of it will dissolve at a lower temperature. So they might precipitate out, but you don't want them to.
No.
If you're never going to be storing your perfume at a really low temperature, then you don't want those things to precipitate out. All we need to do is to make it clear when it's clouded. So like downstairs we've got that quadruple filter system that I've set up in my best nutty professor way to get all the gloop out of over to chocolate shop. Because that's, this stuff, the Cocoa Absolute, is quite gloopy. So that will just collect Cocoa Absolute, and this comes out clear in its own time. It goes through more quickly first because of the pressure. As there's less liquid pressing on top, then it starts to go through really slowly. So what we could do for the rest of our lives is just watch that. So I hope that just covers a few more of the interesting questions about how you make a perfume. Can't wear this one now. How do you know what the restrictions are on jasmine and all the other things? The other ones are not. Well, actually, Super's restricted, but to 20% the finished fragrance, so it's fine. You look up IFRA. You look up the database and the IFRA standards, and there is one for jasmine. If I'd used jasmine sambac, oh no, it's fine. It is sambac. We're clear. It's 4% in the finished fragrance. Hurrah! It's not jasmine absolute. Oh no, it isn't.
No, it is.
I mean,
you used a different one.
I used a different one. If I'd used the sambac, would have been fine. I used the jasmine grandiflora.
Jasmine sandback is
Have a smell.
synthetic, isn't it?
No.
No.
No,
It is a service station on the M6.
it's just been sent back, yeah.
There's sandbag services.
It's also known as Sampaguita.
I think I prefer that jasmine.
Yeah, I love the sandbag, and what's more, that's allowed, I think, 2.7.
I think I prefer it to the Absolute.
So
in fact, I
next
definitely
time
do.
I would remake it using that. So I would have to go away and do the calculations because I can't calculate while being filmed because there's too much going on in my head.
Fair enough.
But at the moment it's at 9% in the finished fragrance, so I would have to be diluted down to 6% in order to make it legal. Oh! It's good. If I put the ethanol in and made that up from 10 to 15, I'd be in the clear. I'll just sit here and watch the drip until you turn it off then.